They taught me the world only makes sense if you force it to.
Needed to help bring the men who murdered his family to justice.
So he could turn out like you?
So that he wouldn't.
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books, I love talking about them, and I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fansite that I have plot synopsis and character bios for these issues. We're doing 2 issues today because I somehow missed one. So we're going to be doing Batman Volume 4, so the new iteration of Batman, 6 and 7. I have to tell you, I freaking love this book. Absolute Batman and Regular Batman are the 2 best titles out there right now, period. And so we have the regular cover here by Jorge Jimenez. Matt Fraction is our writer. And Batman's fighting these zombie-ish looking creatures here, or these things here. So I've also have the variant covers. I have this cover here. This is the last Jim Lee cover, because Jim Lee, I think, because he didn't do number 7. So I bought the Jim Lee covers for all 6 issues and the regular cover. So big fan of Jim Lee. This is a take on John Byrne's the one where Cyclops ends up leaving the X-Men here, and you're gonna see it on what happens in there. So good cover here. I don't know who these artists are, but I really like this one, and I love this color of I love Batman's new color here. This blue is just absolutely gorgeous here. I believe Jorge Jimenez pencils in digital, but inks the books himself. David Aha is the incentive cover, and I never got these incentive covers, but they're just absolutely beautiful. So, all right. So if you remember, we started off right where the last issue ended here. We got Bruce Wayne and I forgot her name, the doctor. They were sort of on a date. And so she has learned that Damian is Bruce Wayne's, or that Robin is Bruce Wayne's son. And she says, we don't have to talk about it. And Bruce says, I very much think we should. And she says, your parenting decisions are your parenting decisions. Who am I to judge? And even if you try to explain, and then she stops, and Bruce Wayne says, I don't. That's not what I mean. I meant. And he continues here. What you've learned tonight, it puts you in great danger. She's quiet. And she goes, no offense, Mr. Wayne, but between the Moto Ninjas and the Bird Woman with swords, I'm well past great danger. And he says, Dr. Zeller and Annika. And he holds her hands, and then she takes it away here. Who knows I know? Nobody. You, me, and him. That's it. And then she stops. I mean, assume he'll tell, you know. And she does the best. So she didn't figure out that Bruce Wayne is friggin' Batman. And so which I found to be very funny. And look at him, like, oh my God. And what's he gonna do? Call Child Protective Services on you? Beat me up like he solves every other problem he encounters? For what it's worth, Dr. Zeller, which I understand isn't much, I am truly sorry this happened. Good night. And she's like, wait, what? You're leaving? And she's just... that is funny. So we're now he's not living in Wayne Manor, and he's living in an apartment kind of like he did in the 70s. And so Damian is hitting this punching bag, And Bruce comes in and says, Damien. And he says, I know, Father. So save your... And Bruce is finally annoyed at his son and just hits and destroys this, the bag here, the punching bag. And he's like, breath. It continues. And Bruce finally goes, no, son, you don't know, believe it or not. In fact, and then he gets down to his level. Science has yet to conceive of a device so sophisticated as to calculate the massive sum of things that you don't know. And just looks at him and just says, Damien, so smarten up before you get someone killed. Now, the Alfred AI says Master Bruce, and I have yet to figure out if it's only Bruce Wayne that sees this or not. I'm not reading Detective Comics, and I never read the Chip Zdarsky run that came prior to this. I know Alfred's dead, but again, I don't know if this is all in Bruce Wayne's imagination or if it really is an AI. And so when he comes up, Master Bruce, and he says, don't start, and then disappears. So, and you can see his hands are like shaking here. So, you know, he's all like, arg. So, Bristol Township, Old Wayne Manor. And so all the villains are finally leaving. And you remember that he had someone that they all loved killed. And of course, he's like, my bird, my beautiful bird, I'll kill him for this, says the Penguin. And so everybody has something. And in fact, he's holding a dead body here as he's going with me. And his phone either vibrates or rings. And he picks up and says, bad time. Now, we're in the port side. And Hugo Strange is here. Bad time? It's a bad time? He questions. Now, he is working on something. You know, Hugo Strange does some funky things. He's like Frankenstein or Dr. Frankenstein, or just he's very smart. So he's got what I believe are corpses, and he's got fluids going into them. And Hugo Strange says, you incompetent moron, you don't know the meaning of bat time. Your idiot sword boys failed to eliminate that damn doctor. It's all across the news. And the guy here, he's probably from the Yakuza, says, our terms make it clear that hand of God interventions. And he says, you think it was the hand of God that scattered the little Tokyo alleys with bodies of your morons on motorbikes? No, Tozuki. Tonight, Hugo Strange will show you that the only hand of God in Gotham City is mine. And those bodies are now behind him. Nice panel here. So Harvey Bullock is no longer with the police. He does private investigations and kind of is a slob here watching Playboy here. I love the sock with the one rip and the large toenail here. And so if you remember from a couple of issues back, this guy is like a oh my gosh, Ben Urich in Daredevil. And he is going to bring that kid to Harvey Bullock. And they shake hands here, and he says, hey, this kid has something to show you. And so he gives him the phone, and he's like, just press that. He's like, I know how the phone works. It's okay because he doesn't. And so he sends the kid away here. Now, if you remember, during this time, it is Vandal Savage is the commissioner of Gotham City. So he, of course, had evidence planted to discredit the Batman. And he's like, are there any clean DAs? Will it hold up in court? And, of course, Harvey says, nope, not here. And he pounds on the table. And he's like, how about that cop that side? Will he corroborate things? He's like, he died at the hospital. He was strangled, and then tells them to watch their backs. And so we're back to the port side section, and these creatures that kind of are dressed like Joker, even have green hair that Hugo Strange had. It just keep saying, just keep punching things, and someone's saying, Batman, 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 and look at that, even has the ears there. It looks like the cleaning lady. And so they find her, and she's like, Batman! And so suddenly Batman does appear, and look at him here hitting this rope and then pressing this button here, and of course it pushes the guy back, and he's like quiet. I love it as he's walking just through. I love this image so much. Jorge Jimenez is just great, and he says, evening, ma'am, you're safe now. And he says, are you all right? And she's like, I knew you could hear me. And he's like, beg your pardon? Knew you'd come help. That's why I don't ever say your name out loud. And that's why she was saying, Batman, Batman. Big bat ears of yours. Knew they could hear every damn thing in this town. And he's like, they aren't. And then he's like, yes, ma'am, I heard you. And he goes, go that way. And she goes, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm going to go fight monsters. Batman is so cool. DC has clearly established Batman as the alpha in their comics. And I love these blades that come out, and he says, or Matt Fraction even says, titanium core, laser honed. This is just such a good. I love Batman so much. Particularly this Matt Fraction run is superb. I am enthralled in it. And so here we go, attacking these. And so he's like, so Hugo Strange found a way to make his Monster Men. Not sure if that's an upgrade or not here. And this guy grabs Batman here and tries to pull him here and knocks him down. He's like, oh no. And then all of a sudden you see these lasers, and someone says, get down. Or is that Batman himself saying get down? And so this hits all of them here. And here we go. And so Batman rolls. Nothing could have survived them. Gets them. And so it looks like the police are shooting. Of course, this is not your average nice police, as they're all under control of a Vandal Savage. And so they continue shooting here, and he goes, car. And here comes the Batmobile, runs them over. Another wonderful, wonderful panel here. Oh my goodness, Jorge Jimenez. And so he leaves, and they're like, stop him. And so, all right. And so back at the other manor, at his other headquarters, Robin tells him he is going to quit being Robin. He wants to have a normal life, and he just needs to take a break. And then Bruce understands, and he says, that's what we're fighting for. He says, you can always come back, but I hope you never have to. And then he gives him a hug, and the two embrace. So this is oh my gosh, which Tim Drake. Sorry, I don't think I was clear. So Tim Drake is going to stop being a Robin, and of course Damian doesn't take it, and so he knocks on Damian's room. He's like, I don't have anything to say to you, quitter. And though he tries to say, kind of had a feeling you heard all that, and then he says, I hear everything in this house, Drake. At least I won't have to hear that trash motorcycle of yours. And Tim says, I'm not leaving town or anything. We can still hang out. Or he just goes, why would I want to spend time with a deserter like you? And he says, Dame, the world is so much bigger than the Batcave, Damien. I know it sounds impossible but to believe, but it's true. I'm only now starting to figure that out, and I hope one day you will too. As he has a crumpled acceptance letter to the Gotham University, which says he has been accepted. And just there. And she's there, and he holds the body, and Batman, he's like, God, what a night. And we get our title, Batman the Long Night. Matt Fraction is our writer. Jorge Jimenez is the artist. So, all right. But there's an epilogue before we move on. And so you can already kind of tell who this is. But we'll go through it. I won't ruin the surprise. How did it go, Doctor? And she says, remind me, patient 10, who's the doctor and who's the patient here? And the voice here says, I don't mean to pry. We speak so often, it's easy for me to slip into informality. And the doctor says, it's okay. We can slip into a little informality as she's working on something. It sounds like you maybe had a bad night, the voice says, as if being in a car crash wasn't bad enough. And of course, this thing, she says, burned out another one. You're officially fried more titanographene than the entire space program. And you could put it on my tab. Ha. And then the doctor says, my night was fine. I met his son. And the voice says, oh, how interesting. And what did you make of him? And the doctor says, we didn't really speak. He was in and out in a flash. And so the voice says, I see. So what was the end of your big night with Bruce Wayne? And so you see them sitting there by the ambulance, more or less. And the voice says, and the accident occurred afterwards. And she continues fixing that thing. Last time I take a rideshare from a driver with a 1.4 star rating, I can promise you. Guy slammed right into a lamppost on the west side. And the voice says, do you think you'll see him again? Not the driver, Bruce Wayne. And so the doctor says, now it feels like you're prying. And she looks at the device here and says, there, all fixed. And so the voice says, I apologize. I get quite lonely sometimes. It's nice to have anyone to talk to, even if I talk too much. And she says, what about that friend you were talking or telling me about? Were you able to reach out, maybe schedule a visit? And the voice says, oh, yes, doctor, I did manage to reach out. I haven't heard back yet, but it's only a matter of time after all. And we get to the big reveal. As we see, it is the Joker. And he says he's my best friend. So the Joker is inside this, whatever this is. Kind of like Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back. The tank, Sabat tank or something like that. And so, yeah, so that is so cool. That is just so freaking cool. So, now, issue 7, I have to tell you here, is, wow. Okay, so this issue we'll get through here with the variant covers here. I love that one. Just so cool. There is no action in this issue. It is talky talk, as I like to say, David Aja, or Aha. Because he's Hispanic, so the J has a ha sound in Spanish. So it's David Aha. So, someone is coming to kill you. Now, we see this orderly coming through, and we'll see what this are. We see red tiles and green tiles. And no shoes. He's wearing his slippers, and he's coming out of room 10. All right? And so he's going through. Again, you can be on green, you can't be on red. And so inside, we're in the Arkham Tower, and he says, it's Josiah, look, he wants to talk. And so you see, if you remember from the previous issue, that is the new bat signal, this little bat here. And we're in Alleytown. We've got Gordon, who's just a beat cop. And we got Harvey Bullock, who, of course, we saw in the previous issue, is a private detective. And here comes Batman. Absolute wonderful. Jorge Jimenez is so good. And so Batman says, well, and Gordon says, got something for you. And Harvey says, just you and look, I got a guy, trust his source, and he as he's playing with the gum. And Batman says, say it, Bullock. And Bullock finally says, it's him. He wants to talk. Of course, they mean the Joker. And so here comes Batman driving through with the Batmobile. Wonderful. This is so good here. And so here comes the doctor. And so she's saying that I'll read it. I was going to kind of skip through it, but the average brain uses less than 500 calories a day to generate around 12 watts of electricity. He burned through 8,000 calories and could light a Christmas tree before treatment. Patient 10 has been medically immobilized and mechanically pithed. I managed the hyper-bioelectric activity in his mind through the crown of storms. He's isolated in a float tank, intubated for nutrients and oxygen. Cranial implants convert his thoughts to speech and transmit external sounds to him in real time. And so she continues, I was excited when he mentioned a desire to speak with someone outside of his care team. I didn't know he meant you. If he'd asked, I wouldn't have allowed it, she says as she looks behind him. And Batman says that's why he didn't ask. That's not the way his mind works. And so she says, I think you'd be surprised by how his mind works if you could be bothered to learn. She, oh my gosh, she's of this new age kind of things. Follow the green tiles, the red ones that administer a medically incapacitating load of electricity. And she says, take your shoes and socks off now. And so he does. And she says, the protocols are designed to keep everyone in the room 10 safe. Us from him and him from us. This is just so funny. He's in his costume but barefoot. I don't know. I find some humor in this here. If you deviate from the green tile, zap. Wall sensors extend that boundary into third space. Your proximity to patient 10 will be controlled at all times. Any part of you leaves that path, and Batman says, then zap. I understand, Doctor. And she says, I'll be right here the whole time, watching and listening to everything. If I even suspect for a moment you mean to physically interact with my patient, my thumb will come off the kill switch. Oh, all these do-gooders. So, the floor discharges and room 10 turns into a total environmental vacuum. Your organs will burst. Rapid hypoxia, hypoxemia, your brain death ensue. I will not allow you to harm a patient in my care. So she's willing to kill someone to save Joker. And, it's kind of funny because that's what Batman also does. So it's just funny seeing it. Matt Fraction, I think, is just trying to prove a point that she's doing exactly what Batman does, except, through someone else. And so Batman says, I understand, Dr. Zeller, I'm ready. And so she says, stilling him has caused some secondary physical effects, Batman. So no, I don't think you are. And so he is going to finally look at the tank, and he's like, good Lord. And of course, we see the Joker here, and he's like, hey, you. And he kind of sighs, because that's what HH, he's kind of like, and so he just kind of looking at each other, and he wants to go after him, but then he just puts the arms down. Well, how did you do it, Joker? And the doctor says, please refer to him as patient 10. And Batman was going to go and says, I'm not going to call him that. That's hilarious. Someone managed to contact me from inside of your bespoke prison, Dr. Zeller. He's still the Joker. And he looks there and then looks at him. And he says, Joker says, I don't want to say, And Batman says, your perfect Joker prison is already compromised, Doctor. He has people inside Arkham Towers. Suspend and secure everyone that has access to floor 10 and room 10. Knowing him, that will be the person he wants you to find. There will be others that you won't. And he goes, we're done here. So he's about to go away, and he says, wait, please, I'll tell you, says the Joker. His name is Josiah Jones. He's an orderly. He used to be a policeman, so that was the guy we saw in the beginning here. And that was when we met. And, of course, Acid, just poor guy. And then he wasn't a policeman anymore. Oh, Joker is so brutal. Josiah's training as an officer and the challenges faced in his own recovery made him an ideal hire. Dr. Zeller, please do not punish him for helping me. And so you can see him cleaning here. Maybe he came here to help others like him. Maybe he is the only place. This is the only place I would hire someone that looks like he does now. The world is capricious and cruel to the different. Oh my God. Or maybe Josiah was biding his time until I finally arrived and he tried to kill me. I don't know. Maybe Josiah didn't know himself. And so here he is. Rage can do strange things to the mind. And so here he is. Whatever it was that brought him into room 10 vanished when he saw me. He comes by on his rounds some nights and we talk. I ask him to reach out to some of our mutual acquaintances to contact you. And now here you are. And Batman is still kind of just with the back toward Joker. Anyway, I think that's how it happened. It's hard to tell sometimes. And so Batman turns around. Is that the gag, Joker? You can't remember all the horrible things you've done anymore? That monster was someone else from some other life? And Joker looks and he says, on the contrary, Batman, I remember. We got a double page spread. And then we're going to have a 4-page spread here. And so look at this. Oh my goodness gracious. All the different, we got the laughing fish, all sorts of stuff that the Joker has done. This is just beautiful. We have the Killing Joke where he shoots Barbara Gordon. We have where he beats Jason Todd to a pulp. Harley Quinn. All also this almost looks like Bill Sienkiewicz here. And just so cool. I remember everything he says here. So it's I can't tell them apart. Memories and dreams. And all my dreams are nightmare, he continues here. And the doctor continues listening. And so Joker continues, I can't explain what gifts Dr. Zeller and her remarkable device have been, what it feels like to have some sort of clarity of thought after all these years, adrift on a relentlessly churning sea. She named it after the ocean of storms on the moon. Did she tell you that? And she's kind of smiling. This is going to be one of those where you can already sort of see it coming. I'll be surprised if Fraction doesn't go that way. Now, maybe he won't, but I have suspicions that she is going to side with the Joker because that's what everybody else does, like Harley Quinn. Perhaps this is her story to tell. Oh, I wonder if she'll be the new Harley Quinn. She's a remarkable person, Batman. I hope you get to know her. I know it was me. I know what I've done, what I am. I'm monstrous and cruel and violent. So the Joker's finally admitting. Batman just listens and looks. And I'm thankful to be contained. And so Batman sighs. And he says, the devil's back in his hole. The opening gambit at last. Right? That's the play as he gets close to him, but his feet never leave that. And she's concerned here. And Joker says, I beg your pardon. And so Batman says, you're all done with the games and plans and traps. Now that Dr. Zeller's miracle device has shown you the way, and since your treatment has been successful, why not take the needles out of your spine, maybe get the tubes out, and let you walk around a little bit? Come on. And so I love this. I love that panel here. And so Batman looks at her and he says, he's wasting my time. Clear a path to the door for me now. And so Joker says, you must never allow me to leave this container under any circumstances. Even if I convince her, I know you will never be fooled. And so Joker says, I asked you here for 2 reasons. The second reason is a secret. Great. Love secrets. What's the first? And so the Joker says, this may be empathy. I'm unsure. Now, there are certain theories out there for the Joker. One is that he's not crazy. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's just a psychopath, you know. And that absolutely makes sense, that he's not insane. He's just doesn't, you know, for whatever reason, he has no empathy, no nothing. And so he says, I think you're lonely. I think you need a friend, says Joker. And he goes, do I now? And so you see this here. And he says, I know I do. My ceaseless compulsions, monomania, megalomania, the obsessive drive to control and manipulate every detail of every day. It was exhausting. You were the only one that saw the effort. You're the only one that ever understood. Maybe I was the only one that ever understood you too. Love this. Love the 2 of them there. And so he goes, do you know what I remember feeling most of all before I came to reside here? And the Joker continues, my constant companion through all the killings and planning and torture and mayhem and rage. And so, lonely Batman. Just awesome. Endlessly, ceaselessly lonely. And so Batman says, I'm alone, Joker, not lonely. 2 different things. I can tell the difference. Yes, of course, says Joker. She's just listening as she promised. And he says, I used to tell myself the same thing. Love on the glasses, Joker, Batman. Very cool. All right, gentlemen, she says, we should end our time together here. I'm activating the egress path now, Batman. Mind your cape. It looks like it gets pretty swooshy, and the spatial monitors are unforgiving. And so Joker says, Dr. Zeller, a favor. And she says, I'm listening. I really did have 2 reasons for wishing to speak with him today. And I can tell him the secret, and I can tell him the secret one, but I can't tell you. And the doctor says, I'm your therapist, unless you're going to harm anyone or yourself or... Yes, doctor, I understand. Doctor-patient confidentiality. This is more of a matter of the kind of confidentiality that exists between... And he says, well, whatever it is that he and I are. And so she goes, why do I feel like I'm being manipulated, patient 10, says the doctor. And Joker says, because I'm trying to manipulate you into giving me something I want, of course. You don't have to stop watching, but I need you to promise to stop listening. Only for a moment. And she pauses and says, 30 seconds, don't stutter. And she actually does. And so she can't hear, and Batman says, tick-tock. And so Joker says, you were correct, of course. I hear all kinds of things from all of Gotham's darkest places. I couldn't ignore them if I tried. But I've heard something dangerous. It is that something dangerous is in the offing. And Batman says, and? I cannot ascertain any more than the faintest hint of existence, but remains beyond my reach. That alone makes it interesting to me. And Batman says, something dangerous is happening in Gotham City. Great tip, patient 10. He says, good night, of course. Someone's coming to kill you. I don't know who, and I can't stop it. And Batman walks out. He says, I'm Batman. People try to kill me all the time. You've discovered it's Tuesday. and we're going to have our big reveal. And Joker says, no, you don't understand. Someone's coming to kill you. Bruce. And he pauses. And the Joker, at least now we believe, has known, and there's always been a thing that he's always known that Bruce Wayne is Batman. He just doesn't care. And so there we go. So Batman Volume 4, 6, and 7. Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez. Oh my God, this story is so good. So I hope you liked it. God, I have a playlist with different Batman mixed throughout his glorious runs. Feel free to check that out. I've got the Denny O'Neil run, Neil Adams run, Marshall Rogers run, Jim Starlin run. I've got the John Byrne story. I got Arkham Asylum in there. Some of the Detective Comics with Norm Brayfogle. All sorts of things in there. I got this run here. I hope you are enjoying this. Like and subscribe. And I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.